Yeah, there's no fun.
Right.
I think I did this right.
Patrick, if you're not going to mind work today.
No, I'm not going to mind it.
My friend is there with her dad. Her dad's a mine worker.
I keep reminding Steelers that here's a copy of Leo's quote saying that the EPA regulation makes sense.
Yeah, Jason, because of the FLCA, I had to be down there tonight. This morning, I had a mine worker shirt on, and I'm like, don't come in. Please. Have fun, but I'm not going.
I wanted to go down to the Sierra Club.
To see what?
To the Sierra Club.
Oh,
Do I need to send the text as well?
No, you put it on the.
I put it on the website.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've never done that after you set it up. We should be good to go. They can type them here, and then I tell you what the question is, and you speak the answer. And after you speak the answer, I click that the question's been answered. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Some of them might not be very easy. The ones who are really technology are listening right now.
Right.
Are not listening right now. So if we do a conference call.
Yeah. I also embedded the video in the post. Because if someone doesn't know how YouTube works or how Google Hangouts work, they can just watch it right on our website. That doesn't have the question and answer feature, though, so that's probably a good idea to do the conference call. 0 viewers.
It's 36, 57 solidarity for everyone. I was like, well, I put the minutes up and I know it is. I love the, there was, in the email, this is how I explain it. Don't think that you're going to keep anybody out of your website by having only we sent out the email. We said, here's the bargaining survey. Your password is local 3667 solidarity. Here's the link. And I got 20 emails with people asking for their password. And
Yeah. We have 1 viewer. Is that you?
I'm not sure if you're
Okay.
did you know on some of those emails it says forward to a friend? Okay.
Okay, it's 12:33, so let's get started. Let's call the meeting to order. Can you take roll?
Patrick Young. Here. Neil Babin. Here. Lori Buckley. Chris Taylor. Sam Bianco. Here. Denise Keller. Here. Blanca Morales. Here. Barbara Glees. Doug Gilmite. Doug Ward. And then Schiffel.
Okay, we will entertain a motion to suspend reading the minutes. RJ, second. Andy, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence.
Thank you from Blanca Morales for donation to summer enrichment picnic in Tulsa Ingle. Email from Andy Snagger regarding Rhapsody Sports Association, PA-AFL-CIO Working Family Track Shoot, PA-AFL-CIO Hope Institute, District 10 FMLA Training, 10-15-14, District 10 2015 Tournament, District 10 PATR Rapid Response Seminar, and letter from Director Matt regarding the division.
Trustees report. Rosie?
This is a trustee quarterly report for the period April 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2014. Cash on hand at the beginning of the quarter for last report was $150,455. Total receipts for the quarter was $22,954.31, leaving a total of $174,409.76 total to account for. Disbursements for salaries, lots of money, expenses, $2,040 per quarter. Total disbursements were $32,507.91. Cash balance at the end of the quarter was $141,639.05. Our bank balance as of June 30th, 2014 was $144,017.80. Outstanding checks of that $2,178.05. Actual bank balance $141,839.
Would you accept the trustees report? Third. Second. Ed. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. The finance secretary report.
This is for June 2014, cash on hand $131,135.70. Total receipts for the month of $8,407.53, and total accounted for $141,616.40. Total disbursements for $7,775.85, bringing the cash balance at the end of the month to $141,839.05.
Motion to accept the finance secretary report.
So
Amber, a second. Lisa. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Cash on hand at the beginning of the month for last report $141,135.37. Total receipts $7,703.09. Total disbursement $7,090.41. Cash balance at the end of the month $141,839.06.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report. Carol, second. Denise. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will use the president's report to talk about what I think most folks are here to hear about, and that's the contract negotiations. And as everybody probably has heard by now, through email or text or through a sign by the elevator. We reached a tentative agreement yesterday afternoon after our meeting. I think that I want to underscore the fact that the tentative agreement that we reached is not an agreement that we're happy with. We think that it falls very, very far short of addressing the language that are really critical to our members. Doesn't create promotional opportunities for the building. It doesn't provide a strong fix for our broken system for lateral transfers. It doesn't create promotional opportunities for the field. It doesn't meaningfully address the issues brought forward by the Civil Rights Committee. The pension agreement after having carefully reviewed the data that was provided to us and subject to confidentiality agreement, we agreed that something needed to happen with regard to retention. And we'll get into some more detail about that and what it looks like. Had we been the one sitting at the bargaining table, when SRU at the bargaining table, I think we probably would have structured the arrangement differently. We pushed the international to explore other options like putting either new hires or a portion of it into the store trust, something like that. Those discussions were an absolute non-starter. We know from looking at the numbers that reductions were absolutely for both the active plan, the PACE plan and the SEAL plan. We probably, knowing that reductions were needed, we may have wanted to structure those reductions in a different way to ease the flow on certain folks and kind of particularly have folks like have folks like me who are younger and have more time to plan for retirements take more of the blow because people who have more seniority don't have more time to plan, as much time to plan, as much time to work. But we also recognize that with the international, that pushing them to administer two different plans, one that SRU already agreed to, or that implement for the excluded folks, and PPU and OTIU agreed to, although it doesn't really matter for them because they're national project. In a different plan for us, that's a relative non-starter. The international is very not interested in doing that. And even if we were to do that, we'd basically be saying, all right, we want to take money away from Chris and give it to Pam, or take money away from Lori and give it to Dion, which is something that the international doesn't want to do, and it's tough to get us mobilized around doing something like that, especially when everybody knows what the SRU deal is and what it looks like. So I don't like the way the process works with SRU going out and in one day bargaining a bargaining agreement that I can't imagine that they fully understood because the international didn't fully understand it when they sat down and talked with us. But I don't see, and the bargaining committee doesn't see much of a possibility that we would achieve a different outcome with regard to retention. So I want to walk through the various changes within the contract. I'll add a little narrative as we go through. Then I will give kind of the bargaining committee's take where we think that we are at and what we think makes sense going forward. And then give each member of the bargaining committee an opportunity to share their thoughts. Then we'll hear ideally maybe first questions and then maybe some feedback about what you all think. So we're starting on page 1, settlement agreement. The first, oh yeah, we start with that. So the agreement will be effective September 1, 2014 and expire December 31st, 2017. Item number 2 is an expansion of the anti-discrimination language in our purpose and intent. We proposed a much more extensive anti-discrimination clause. The National initially rejected it. They altogether, they finally came back with this, which we refer to as a bullshit cop-out. But it expands our anti-discrimination language to include any other factor protecting discrimination by applicable municipal, state, federal municipal, state, or federal law. And in Pittsburgh, that covers transgender people. Because of recent Pittsburgh-based legislation. Item 3 is a proposal brought forward by the International Employees Assigned to the National Headquarters for Living in Canada, the audience, including the same basis Canadian staff members of SRU paying Canadian dollars, receiving Canadian benefits. Something that was always happening. We have now 3 members in Canada and 2 auditors and 1 technician in the department. So that's just clarification of something that was happening. Number 4 is the closest thing that we have to progress with respect to language. And what it does is, this is regarding lateral transfer. So the old language with regard to lateral transfers was what? The international can do whatever it wants. Now, when an opportunity for a lateral transfer comes up, the international is going to put out the posting like they have been doing. These are only job class 7, and to the extent practicable, a description of job duties and a description of any special skills, knowledge, or abilities required to perform the job. What they've been doing in the past was they said there's a job opening, there's a job available in membership development. It's going to require special skills, knowledge, and abilities. Apply by this date, period. They didn't tell anybody what you need to be able to do or what the job was about. So this is the first time they're going to put on the table, like, okay, this is what you need to be able to do. That's a step forward. Then the thing that would be a real step forward is on the next page. And what this is language that it starts to say that the international will select the most senior qualified applicant. That'd be huge if we had that. If that's what that was, that would be huge. They're going to have to go through a process. They're going to interview people. They're going to test people, and they're going to pick the most. They're going to determine who's qualified and who's not, and they're going to pick the most senior other people. That would be huge. That's something that we push for in a lot of our collective bargaining agreements out in the field, in plants. The problem is that the international also reserves the unilateral right following the completion of its review process to hire any of the internal candidates or an outside applicant based on its determination of what is required to meet the needs of the union, and no grievance may be filed with respect to its final decision. We believe in this language, if this tentative agreement is ratified, we will find ways to do different parts of this language, but it is set up in a way that really allows the international job stuff to do basically whatever they want. The next section there is kind of cleaning up from the old existence of job class 5, job class 7. Number 5, we're going to get to number 5 and number 6. We're going to get to when we talk about pensions in a minute. Number 7 this is the Steve Nesbitt language, and it clarifies that when people are staying in accommodations with a full kitchen, i.e. an apartment with a stove, refrigerator, and sink, they're going to get half of the regular per diem, not the full per diem. They've been trying to do that, and we pushed it back on that, and kind of played a little bit of a gotcha, and now they've cleaned up that language. 8 is wages. There's a 2% wage increase in every year of the contract, effective January 1, 2015, 2016, and 2017. Number 9 is another thing that could be construed as close to some progress. And one of the things that we spent a lot of time talking about in the bargaining table is the fact that our pension problem is not caused by the fact that our pensions are our pension problem is caused by the fact that we lose 3% of our members every year. And if we're going to fix that, and the person who's sitting here in 10 years is going to have the same exact problem, then we need to address the fact that we're losing 3% of our members every year, and we need to have a bona fide organizing program. And members are working for 67% as a part of that. We had some, I think, some really innovative proposals that could have really moved us forward. All we were able to extract from that is an agreement that if any clerical wants to go on an organizing leave side, and that's an opportunity that's available to any job class 7 or 13 employees, and they'll use you if you go talk to Maria, but they'll put you on the road. And it's a clarification if they use you on an organizing or servicing leave of absence and you're staying at home, you're going to get the $11 a day per diem. And if you're on the road, you're going to get the full $57 a day per diem. That $11 a day amounts to about $4,000 a year, which is about a 3% pay increase. So if you step up and participate in the organizing leave of absence in your clerical or RT position, then there is someone there for you. It's not for your money, but there's someone. We'll talk about the pensions in a minute. We'll talk about the bonuses, and then the other piece that could be seen as a move towards progress is Appendix O, page 1 hours, and we've added Microsoft Outlook as one of the approved courses. So you can take Word, Excel access for Outlook, but you can still only get a total of 3 pay increases for a total of 9% pay increase. Next page is wages. This lays out the wage scales for all of us. The numbers here reflect a 2% increase every year. Something that I really do want to point out is the fact that our current agreement goes until March of 2015, and it does not include any wage increase on January 1 of next year. This tentative agreement does include that wage increase. Pensions and social insurance. Much of this is the same from the old Appendix 5, now Appendix 8. We're going to continue the wellness program, the regular program, through 2017. We will add, we'll expand the child care committee, which is still yet to have its first meeting, to include child and elderly care, and think of a solution for that. Maybe it's because the children have become elder in the time that people waiting to get them at the table for that. And then the big piece, before I jump into the pensions, I just want to point out the bonuses, because we'll probably go from pensions into questions. I just want to make sure to point out that the bonuses start on page 13. And that's technicians, $1,000 signing bonus, research tech, $950 signing bonus, and job class 7 is $900 signing bonus payable September 1st. Job class 7, clarify, that's all of you, not legacy 7 or legacy, it's all of you. Everybody gets the same bonus September 1st. And then technicians, July 1 of every year of the contract, we're looking at $1,500, $1,250, and $1,000 bonuses July 1 each year of the contract. Let's go back to the pension. Back to page 10. So we talked about this before as a group. At the time, we said we didn't fully understand it, but we thought that we had an idea of how it works. Our understanding now is pretty much that it works the way that we thought it did. What's going to happen for legacy PACE employees, people who worked for PACE before the merger, is your pension's is going to freeze effective July 1, 2015. You're going to be moved to a new steelworker staff pension plan. Legacy steelworker employees, our pension benefits are going to freeze effective July 1, 2015, and we're going to move to a new steelworker staff pension plan. And we're all now in the same boat. There's a special retirement allowance that is historically existed for both base and steelworker staff. Steelworker staff historically got 5 months of pay when you retire. We're going to still get the 5 months of pay, but that rate is but frozen at the July 1, 2015 rate. The base employees and new hires used to get 1 month of pay. They're going to get 2 months of pay when they retire, and that is going to be their final salary. That's not frozen at July 1, 2015. The other change to the pension plan is that for future service, our benefit is based on 2.5% of your career average salary. When you say career average salary, you're looking at your career after the change goes into effect, after July 1 of 2015. So that's your average salary. It's 2.5% of that for all years of service. The legacy steelworker plan, after 20 years, we set down to 1%, and after 25 years, we set down to 0.5%. This is 2.5% for all years of service. There are some people who are going to be adversely impacted by this. So if you are adversely impacted by this, your base pension is protected by a 97% safety net. You're not going to lose more than 3% of your base pension. The other thing that goes away for future service, not for past service, but for future service, is in the legacy steelworker plan, there's a free 50% joint survivor benefit, which ensures that if you die, your spouse, and you don't opt into any of the other levels of the joint survivor benefit, then your spouse is going to get half of your pension for the rest of their life. Under the new plan, for service after July 1 of 2015, there is an actuarial reduction that you're going to take in order to opt into that 50% plan. There's no more free 50%. And for any plan, you can opt into a 75% level or a 100% level, which is going to be more expensive at those levels. We have copies of those tables. They're very long, so we don't have paper copies right here. But if people want to if people want to dig into them and figure out how it would impact you and your families, they're relatively easy to read. What you would do is you set, if you want 50%, if you're planning on a 50% benefit, for instance, you'd say, I'm going to have no reduction for my service for my years of service up to July 1, 2015. And in my service after 2015, then I'm going to have a 2.5% or 4.5%. Or I believe it's going to be based on your age and your spouse's age at retirement. And I believe if I'm not going to give a guesstimate of how big it gets. But one thing that is new is we are working off of new actuarial tables, which are adjusting for the fact that people are living longer, primaries are living longer, which makes that joint survivor benefit a little bit cheaper than it otherwise was. Now that we have a tentative agreement, if people want to find out exactly how it would impact you, you may, and this is something that really, really matters to you, I'd encourage you to email Paul Dennis and say, before I can vote on this deal, I want to know exactly how I'd be impacted. I'm planning on retiring on this date. Here's my birthday, here's my spouse's birthday. This is the amount of service that I'll have. What are my numbers? And we should run those numbers for you. He will probably run those numbers for you after the election. So the vesting the vesting time period is changing some. The SRU plan no longer has or the SRU the old PACE plan had a 25 and out. That no longer exists. We believe there's one person from actually stuck here with a couple extra years before he'd be eligible to retire. In order to qualify for retiree insurance, you need to either have 10 years of vesting credit, be retired on disability retirement, be a spouse eligible for pre-retirement death benefit, or be age 65 or older and have 5 years of vesting credit. Be 65 or older and have 5 years of vesting credit and be employed before January 1 of 2015. The other thing that is changing with the pension is our accrual rate. It's 2.5% on all years of service for future service. In 2030, that steps down to 20%. And in 2035, that steps down to 2%. So there is a reduction over a period of time. This is, like we've said in the past, the note getting around the fact is the concessionary proposal on the pensions. The people who are retiring by the end of next year will see no change. People who are retiring relatively soon will see the smallest change. People who still have a long time to work here will see a bigger change. And the people who will see the biggest change are the people who are not yet hired yet.
I think it's important to note that the funding projections of the international community show the new pension plan as well. The new pension plan will be 25.5%.
Right.
I think that's pretty important to note with these multipliers and well out.
Because in 2030, if we're sitting here, if whoever's sitting here, dear God, whoever's sitting here is looking at, we've got a fully funded pension plan, and our benefit levels reducing that. I'm assuming that whoever's sitting here is going to say, why don't we just leave it at 2.5%, right? We can afford that. So part of reducing that future benefit level helps increase our current projections for our current funding level. But if we're fully funded, I don't know why we would continue to go ahead with cuts. I'd imagine that somebody would have a conversation about stepping back and undoing those cuts.
Do you guys know with the international, was there a law on pensions that had to be funded by a certain percentage? Was the international compliance with that law?
Okay, so this is a good segue into kind of what we're thinking about in terms of this agreement. The Pension Protection Act, which is actually a very horrible law, because there's not allowed to protect pensions, requires that if your funding level falls below 80%, then you're in the red zone, you're in a danger zone, and you can't bargain increase. If it falls below 60%, then you have a lock-in freeze on all your benefits. Nobody can change benefits anymore. We're nowhere close to that. We're at 94% for the steel compliance, and it's somewhere in the low 90s on the pace plan. Those numbers are a little bit fictional because they're assuming what we believe is a much faster rate of growth for the money that's sitting in the plan right now that we think is realistic or responsible to assume. We won't let employers assume that rate of growth. So when we back it up and calculate, and the funding levels are also a little different because the PACE plans are multi-employer plans, so they're assuming actually a faster rate of return than the SEAL plan. So we back them up and we compare them side by side with realistic projections about how that money is going to grow. That funding percentage drops significantly. And when we back up even more and say, in 2015, the Council of Actuaries is going to put out a revised actuarial table that is going to it's going to assume that because that we're all going to live longer, then that funding is going to drop a whole lot more. And some of the information that we saw as part of the confidential information that we were provided was real solid projections of where we're at in both plans if nothing is done. And right now, and we believe, it's not just the 5 members of the bargaining committee. We also brought in Pat Atlas, who's senior technician in the pension benefits department, who's sending out the road to do this. We believe there's a problem that needs to be addressed. Right now, the International is contributing $20.5 million to the SEAL plan every year and $9.2 million to the PACE plan every year. That's, we can talk about chasing money from the 70th anniversary or the USW tax or something like that. But there's no trimming around the edges of signs on the building or events in Vegas that get us to that $30 million. It's going into the fund every year. That we believe is unsustainable. We genuinely believe that something needs to be done. And we would much rather do this now when we have 530,000 members than 10 years from now when the funding level is much worse and when we have 400 or 300,000 members. It's going to be a much tougher hill to climb. And if the union goes bankrupt, goes out of business in 20 years or sooner or later, and we don't have funded pension plans, then our pension plans are going to be kicked over to the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation if it's still there. And the reduction we're going to see is going to be dramatically more than what we would see even with the most severe cuts for the safety net where we have a Scots much younger than we're operating against private program. So we believe that it's a responsible thing to do right now to fix this problem, to address this program. We also are really frustrated and annoyed with the way that the process works. We knew that SOU was going to meet with the International Union to talk about pension problems. And they met with the International. They met for a day and a half. They bargained a tentative agreement. And that tentative agreement is, with regards to pension, is identical to what we're doing. They've essentially set the floor and the ceiling for what what it is we're dealing with. And those of you who bargain or participate in campaigns with the collective bargaining process out in the field know that once the first steel mill agrees to this deal, they set the pattern. It's very, very challenging for the next group down the line to change that pattern. There's more than 400 SRU members, fewer than 200 of us. So we're also looking at doing we'd also be looking at doing a town wagging the dog if we were to try to change that program. The smart thing to do, if the international wanted to have grand bargain, it was going to impact everybody. One thing to do would have been pull everybody together, so we've got this problem, let's all sit down together and come up with something that everybody can be invested in and everybody can fully understand. Because I don't think that everybody fully understood this, everybody else fully understood this proposal when they were asked to vote on it. And I don't want you guys to vote on something that you don't fully understand. So we're going to make sure that everybody, I'm not going to make sure everybody likes it. That's going to be an impossible task. We're going to make sure that everyone understands how it's going to impact you and your family. And we'll spend as much time and energy as we need and pull out Paul Janice if we have to, if there's more and more questions about this, because this is something that everybody really needs to understand how it's going to impact you. But what we do know, and what we can tell you, is that there is a problem, and the solutions on the table address the problem as well. The other thing that everybody saw our bargaining update, and there is no part of our bargaining update that we characterize as a big deal or something that we are happy with, or something that we think is going to address the long-term problems facing the union. We think that we think that if the internet, and we're looking at what's going on with the organization, we're losing members every year. We don't see a real clear plan to address that problem. We don't see a real clear plan to fix that problem, and we don't see the international engaging us in the process of trying to fix that problem. And we don't see the international engaging us in doing the work of making this organization run smoother, be a more fair place to work, and have clear processes about how people are going to move around, or how to move up, or how to incentivize people. We don't see that right now, and we've proposed a lot of things to international that they pretty much refuse to budge on. And that was incredibly frustrating. And here's where we ended up yesterday. And this is the way I'm thinking about this. And this is the way I encourage other people to think about it. I do not think that we're going to get any further in terms of, certainly we're not going to get any further in terms of money into the pension. I don't think we're going to get any further in terms of language in this round of negotiations. I don't see that happening. I think there's a possibility that if this contract gets voted down, somewhere down the road, we might be able to have some more leverage and do better. But I also think the possibility that if this contract gets voted down, there's a significant possibility that we won't do any better. And I'm not confident enough that we would do better if we just walked away from the table, if we walked away from the process right now, that I feel comfortable asking any of you to do what it would take to disengage from this process right now. We're in early bargaining, and we can walk away. We've got a contract full purchase in effect until March of next year. But we also know that there's a bonus on the table on September 1st, and there's a 2% wage increase on January 1st. And it is our opinion that if we don't ratify what is on the table now, then we're not going to come back to the bargaining table until next spring, probably February or March. And at that point, we'll probably get that raise back. We'll probably get that bonus to that proactive, and we might be able to level some things as well. But I don't feel confident enough that we're going to do much better to ask you all to forego getting a bonus on September 1st and getting a wage increase on January 1st, rolling the dice, that maybe we can do something better. Well, we're the only bargaining that's hanging out there next spring. I believe that there are people who genuinely think otherwise, and I encourage folks to have a full and open and honest and respectful debate about that. And I encourage people to make the decision that makes sense for them and for their families. But that's really where I think that we are, and that's why, as frustrated as I am with this process, as disgusted as I am with how a lot of these things transpired, I am recommending ratification of this agreement. So is anybody in the bargaining committee have anything to add?
Covered.
I mean, what do you think about where we're at?
I don't think that we were gonna make any more progress currently. If I was sitting here and I was out there, I would, I mean, it depends on how you actually look at it. I mean, if you're talking about the big three things, you think your salary and your benefits, yes, of course, it's no brainer. But some of these things, particularly lateral transfer language, has been something that's near and dear to me for a long time, so I would probably be in a position if I had not seen how the process unfolded, both reading and both those things. But, I mean, when you take it, the whole thing is perspective, I mean, yeah, this is what we're gonna get now. We've had higher hopes.
Well, I mean, they've reminded us more than one time at the table that we were the last ones out. So everybody else already had the deal. So it's like the attitude, well, you know, pretty much everybody else is done. We don't feel like we really need to get anything. So it's just a really frustrating experience that, you know, that's their attitude. And they already think we make too much money. We have good benefits, we have a good pension, so basically, you know, they don't feel like when it comes down to making, you know, changes, significant language changes that we thought were important are really, that they're not that.
Did Canada settle their contract up there?
Canada's not. Open not. SOU, the staff representative that had.
Well, you were saying that we were the last ones hanging out there, so I got the feeling that Canada settled.
No, Canada's not settled.
No, I'm in agreement with the board. It was a frustrating process. I personally look for more, especially for language, especially for additional opportunities for our members to be in the field. That's what's going to happen.
All right. What do we have any questions about?
How do we access the chart?
We'll put them on the local website. Staff.
So there's just guaranteed that their pension will not be 3%. Does that
Your base pension.
Does that include the survivor rate?
No.
Well, then it's more than 3%. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's not honest. We have a benefit and it's being taken away. And for most of us, that means a decline of where it is.
That is correct.
Well, then why did you say it's 3%? I don't understand.
What I said was it's a reduction. It is the safety net applied to your base pension, and the joint survivor benefit is going away. That's what the case is.
It's hard to also paint as many individualized situations occur in this scenario. So, I mean, there are plenty of people without a spouse. There are people who are already paying a 50% joint survivorship. So, the 97% thing is something that applies to everyone equally. There are many other factors that play for many different people beyond that.
And I also don't.
In the skill workers,
That's true. That's true.
But it also.
Covers more people than just that.
I also don't know what option you're going to pick, because if you were going to pick the 100% option, you are going to have reduction for that. You're actually going to be more significant now. If you were not going to take any reduction, then, and you were going to buy term life insurance instead, then you're going to be in a different situation as well. So I don't know what you and your family are going to decide. The 97% safety net it's not a PR ploy. This is how you calculate it. You have a 97% safety net, you apply that, and then you apply further the joint survivor reduction after that, depending on what it is you choose.
You want the range of change to be?
It's from 1% to 12 or 13%. And at the high end is projecting that you are 20 years old in your spouse.
Just to clarify that, 12 or 13%, would that apply only to benefits as of July 1st going forward?
Correct. So that
Not to benefits already on.
the free 50% is a vested benefit. So what you're going to do is there's actually two tables, two sets of tables. You're going to calculate. So if you're going to take the 50%, then you would say, okay, I'm going to calculate my service with no reduction up until this date, and then with the 50% reduction up until this date. You're going to do 75%, then you would say, I'm going to use the 75 table for this one and the 75 table for this one.
Now, we're going to calculate, I'm getting a little confused when you're saying calculate it off of one and the other. Now, you're stating that I'm going to mine safe until July 1st of next year. My flat rate is what I'm making now for my pension. And if I take 100% at that point, or if I retire, my wife would get 100% for the rest of her life, I'll the next step. If you're saying it could be recalculated if I stay another year at a lower rate of calculation, how much I made for the rest of since I started it. They're going to calculate it twice?
I don't understand what you're asking.
Okay, from right now, I get, say, 60% of my salary. Okay, come July, if I work another year, do they recalculate it from day one that I started up?
No, it's just future service.
Everything is future service.
Okay, so that means that my pension will be calculated on my 1 year of service.
No, it would be your vested benefit, everything up until July 1 of next year, plus your future service, everything after July 1 of next year.
So I get 2.5% more in my pension for 1 year of service than my full 30-some years of service.
Yeah,
and
but
my pension is there.
Yeah,
but that would be calculated in 2.5% of my 10-year salary.
Yep. I hear what you're asking here, and if you turn to page 11, 12, there's 100% cap, so nobody's going to get more than 100% of what they otherwise would. So,
Okay, so what you're saying, then I'd be frozen, then I just get what my pension would have been for the 30-some years.
30, no, you get.
You said that it would go over 100% of calculation.
Right, but you're still going to get your 0.5% for the extra year that you work.
So that you're saying the extra year would be 2.5%.
But you're going to get that calculated as a 0.5%. You're not going to get 100% of more than 100% of what you otherwise would have.
So all the years in, if I stay after July, would be considered calculated at the same rate as what I was doing before?
Correct.
At 0.5%.
Correct.
There would be no change to my our pension plan then.
Except you're no longer going to have the 3% joint survivor for those future years, just for those future years. And your special retirement allowance is going to be frozen at, July 1 of next year, right? Just kind of knowing you, Jim, you're one of the people who will be impacted the least by this year. If you've got specific questions about how you're going to be impacted, I'd encourage you to send Paul James an email, say, if I were to retire on this date and my spouse is this age, and I'm going to pick this option, what does that look like for you?
Now, the international limit explaining like how many meetings everybody like with the 30 and how many people? So if they have a question? Did they have a meeting with all those people?
So, what they did was, while they were doing the organizing road show, they also, because people were together, they did presentations there as well. If people want, now that this is a tentative agreement, and you want to have Paul Dennis come in and explain to people how it's going to work, and you can have the Ask Paul hours, we can make that happen. We can have a lot of that.
Yeah, so we don't feel rushed to do it at the last 15 minutes of the
It
meeting.
would be a call to come in and sit down. I think it would be probably better if we could do it in the evening and have your spouses also come in and go over so they understand also with us.
That's a great idea. We'll probably run it twice. Probably during lunch once, because now we're going to come in the evening. We'll run it again in the evening if people want to come. You want to bring the spouse.
But it would be affecting the whole family over the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any other questions?
I would have a question this time about the pension. Somebody else was about the pension. Okay, so this goes back to my question. There's a very clear path of therapies to get over this in this organization. You take these tests, you pass these tests, and you get as much as 90%. It's very clear and standard. That does not occur for technicians. I do not understand why that's not occur for technicians, and I don't understand why this could not be added to the language.
Well, there is one very clear path for technicians.
It's not clear. It's be evaluated and have something happen if you're a supervisor.
Page 14 of your contract, Article 5, Section 10. Resource technicians, senior resource technicians, and auditors may request annual comprehensive review of their work performance, workload, and assignments from current unit if the international president applicable discretion to grant a promotion. If the promotion is not warranted, the comment of review a plan, e.g. relevant classes in order to degree of certification, additional or change work assignments, etc., may be developed for the requesting employee to help lead with future professional opportunities. Page 14. The contract. The existing contract. The review will be conducted by the employee supervisors along with representatives of the personnel department. A copy of the review and or plan will be provided on confidential basis to the Secretary of 7 at the request of the employee.
Here's the problem. It says may, it doesn't say must. And so the supervisor can say no, I'm not going to. And it also does not say you get a 3% raise if you're not doing a 3% raise. It's not.
So, two things. One is there is not a circumstance where someone has come to the local union and said, I asked for a performance review and I asked for a plan and it wasn't provided. That circumstance has not happened where somebody came to the local union and said that. If that had happened, that is probably something that we would bring up at the bargaining table, but it has not happened. I've heard rumors that it has happened, but no one has come to us and said this is a problem. It's really hard for us to fix a problem that no one is coming to us saying exists. Second, I think that the idea of some sort of knowledge program for research tech and higher level positions is an interesting one. It's one that some people put on their bargaining survey, but there wasn't a whole lot of clarity about how that would work, and I don't know how to devise that program. So I don't know how to propose it. And even if we did have a good idea for a program, given the stunning movement we received on all of the other things we put on the bargaining table, I find it relatively unlikely that we're going to make progress with this point. Is it something that I think would be a cool idea to explore? Yeah, it would be a cool idea to explore. It's something I think is attainable. If this one, I don't think so. Diane?
The Fusion Knowledge Program, you said that it comes now money to the public. If technicians or other folks wouldn't get compensated based on this, wouldn't get compensated, could they take it just voluntarily?
Yeah, a bunch of people already did it.
Okay.
Yeah. Not with Outlook, we didn't have Outlook, but
yeah.
With Word and Excel. No technicians have done it. That.
I have I guess a related question. I was going to ask first if there was any talk of expanding the knowledge beyond just the Microsoft Office suite.
Yeah, when we initially talked about this, I think that doing just Microsoft Office is relatively short-sighted because, I think it's probably much better to get people using the Adobe Creative Suite software. That's something that many people would be able to use. We didn't put that on the table this time. We did been looking, and there are certain programs available for those. And for some other things, there's more development stuff like that. We didn't put it on the bargaining table this time for two reasons. One is given everything else that's on the table and the way the international is responding to our request to be cost on anything, we thought it was unlikely that we were going to really be able to make any significant movement on that. And the other thing is that we anticipated a significant fight that we were running into about getting you Photoshop on your computer, or having that, a lot of people are having that, right? About which software they're going to get on their computer and possibly various software licenses. It does exist in one other place, and that's fluency in another language. You create another language, you can get a 50% off. And that's actually a fourth function. You get the 9% plus 3% if you're in another language. Here in the international.
And my other question, am I correct in understanding that this formal performance review process that staff mentioned in Dara is only open to resource technicians on the block, correct?
That's correct.
It's not in the language for a job class 7.
It's not in the language for a job class 7, but there's two things. One is because there's different language for how you would move from a 7 to a 13, and that's the appendix G resource technician language, which is frustrating in that it's not that you can't say I'm really good at my job, I should be a resource tech. We've got to wait for a resource tech position to show up, and then in the process for determining who would get the resource tech job. In reality, every time a research tech job has been created, they said, so-and-so is doing a really good job at what they're doing. We'd like to get a research tech, to create a research tech to do the job that person is doing. They put it out, and surprise, surprise, who gets it? the person's already sitting in my desk, or that's next to where they're going to be. So that's a pending resource definition. We proposed language that would provide a very clear path from clerical to technical positions, and even a second degree that we think would be really, really good for the organization. And the internet is flatly rejected that. Yeah, we got to put it much more organized.
Okay. I just would disagree with that. It's for people that say that you're already doing it. I don't think it's
I think that most people don't think they should agree with that. Any other questions? We'll go to Mark.
Is there any discussion in the two hours talk about time about whatever you're changing training the ability to address even remotely designed to put us in that direction? You know, I mean, I hear you have those opportunities up, but the training that we offer is going to address the needs of the future and to making us better to meet the new demands that we're facing.
In a word, no. And listen, that's one of the most frustrating things about this entire process is we have a conversation about what the future of our union looks like. We're having a conversation about rearranging the decks, the chairs and executive Titanic. And that's frustrating. We want it, and we wanted to have a conversation about how do we take people in 367 and the next group of people that we hire over the next 10 to 15 years and build an effective organizing and mobilizing and campaigning program for the future, and not a union that looks in so many ways like it did back in the 70s. And we don't really see the vision there. And that's something that we push really, really hard. And it's something that it's something we push really, really hard. And at some point, we did get a commitment to, we said, listen, part of the problem is the fact that we're losing membership every year. You talk about we're going to refocus on organizing. What's the plan? Is there a plan? I don't think there's a plan. Bob says, well, there's a plan. I was like, okay, well, what is it? He's like, well, there's a lot of plans. Okay. What are the lot of plans? The one you brought up at the bargaining table was getting contractors out of oil refineries. I don't know that that's a sufficient plan to grow the union. But we did say, listen, can we get a commitment from you to come in and give us a presentation about what your plan is to grow and evolve the union going forward? And they said, yeah, sure, we'll do that in the fall. We probably could have gotten to put that into the agreement, but I would have felt really silly coming back and saying, yeah, they're going to give us a presentation as one of the things that we want. But yeah, we're going to push it to, and that's something where we're going to hold their feet to the fire. RJ, you hand up.
Jamal had was my question.
As far as organizing, would that be something that you would have to go to supervisors? Yes.
Well, it's just the discretion of the international president, and because of the plantation system that we have here, where you can't leave your department and private placement in your department, the international president is not going to give you the approval to go work on organizing campaign unless your supervisor is okay with giving you up for a period of time. That said, I do know that the organizing department does want 3667 members to sign up to the organizing leave of absence and actually participate in that program. It was offered one person talking about being interested in that, and they said, great, here's a campaign to go on. They decided not to do it. But if that's something you want to pursue, I really encourage you to talk to Maria. And if we end up in a situation where there's somebody who really wants to do it, and and there's a roadblock there about getting them out of wherever they are to do that work, we want to have that fight to break down that roadblock. If organizing is the future of the union, we gotta, we can't say that somebody doing something else is more important. We can't stay there for a while.
But I don't think that we should just focus on one thing. The right to work stuff that's going on in this country, and the grant program. When the graduate talk comes out, the blast about calling the politicians about this right to work stuff, or how many times have they put out the blast about going down and doing the phone banking? It's the same people that does it. The same people. Or Matt, when they were worried about closing the doors and or Matt. How many of us in this room gave a shit about their companies? Their jobs. You can't hear them.
I agree that that's still going to be 3% less people every year that we need to organize.
Right, but you still have to take.
Any resolutions,
But we don't pull the
You
voices in
still-
this building now. We don't pull them, and it's sad. Show me things.
You still have to worry about this right to work piece, too. We have a lot of numbers on here too.
And I'll, if I can piggyback off, if that's okay.
Yeah.
The most recent action we did with the Bring Jobs Home, which is clearly a no-brainer, to be honest. I mean, it really is. Like, why are we giving tax incentives to corporations to ship their jobs overseas? I'm looking at a printout of all the calls that were made out of this building from our phones, and the first 10 are Kim and I, and there might be another 12 behind.
I'll use my cell phone.
Now, your cell phones, and I have no way of pulling that. All I'm saying is we sit by a phone every day. So for those of you who did make the calls, thank you. But yeah, you can share anything.
Okay. Let's kind of reel it in. I think that the points are all well taken here. And there's two of them. One is that the problem is not what's in our contract. The problem is that our union is continuing to shrink. And we should be having a conversation about whether we would grow the union. We should be having this conversation, the conversation, do we need to talk about bringing jobs home, or do we need to talk about new organizing, or do we need to be talking about how we're going to evolve our organization to serve the needs of different types of members, or do we focus on internal organizing in terms of the ranks? There are conversations that we really ought to be having, and it's incredibly frustrating if we're not, and we're taking concessions of attention, and we're not talking about what our future looks like. And that's very, very frustrating. And I feel and echo the frustration. But I also want to kind of direct the conversation back a little bit to the fact that kind of like the matter at hand, and that's that we do have an offer for a collective bargaining agreement. We want to make sure everybody understands it. And if everybody understands it, then I would like to open the floor after Jamal speaks for folks to voice their opinion about where we're at and what they think we ought to be doing going forward. Jamal?
My question is simply, they did the roadshow with everybody else, but the majority of the folks who went out on the roadshow were talking, working in this building, and the majority of us are in here every day. Nobody said working.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
hear more from people in the field, staff reps, about what was said than we hear from the people here when they talk about this. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. Well,
We wouldn't be the union in the field.
I mean, it's weird when you get phone calls from people in the field asking you questions about what people said here. It's true.
It's not a question, it's fucked up. Anybody want to kind of add some thoughts to this discussion? So you hear from some folks who haven't had an opportunity to speak. All right. Well, we're clearly not enthusiastic, not happy with the situation we're in right now. But we put through the bargaining committee that it's not saying it's a good deal, but we're saying that we believe this is the best deal that we can get right now. and we believe that rejecting the contract will only lead to people not getting, people getting their bonuses and their pay delayed. And we don't want to have to do that. So we are recommending ratification of this agreement without frustration, very, very much noted. We still do not know exactly what the process is going to, what timeline is going to be building. There's a convention right in the middle. There's an old case merger agreement that allows, it requires that we have a vote of participants in the case plan before we have a vote to elect. Even though there's no way to sway the total vote, so we give them an opportunity to vote on whether that's change their plan before we can have our plan. So RJ is rounding up the case for the tellers committee, and we will have we'll put out the ratification process and explanation of how that works going forward very, very soon. And in the meantime, feel free to talk with any of the five members of the bargaining committee, or Chad, who's there for much of the session about the pension, about how we thought things played out. With that, we still have formal business of the local union to attend to. I won't be sad if anybody leaves, because I realize we've been here for an hour. So let's continue. Rather than reading out all of the committee reports, is there any committee that has something that was really burning to discuss?
Here, we got our yeah, I'm going to ask them. So the map, I'll replace that. Sunday, second, and we asked them to take it over the office, and then it will go to the station. So we're taking
Is that a motion?
it is a motion.
Okay. Is there a second? Is there discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I mean, typically that to foster a better environmental diversity, and this certainly goes towards that. Though it may not be in the building, it is community. For us.
Somebody email me the information about this.
So estimate.
You know, naturally does. Okay.
But, we didn't have to, occupying it, still development, which I call it, because we want to offer the community. You guys don't want to, I do want to think that.
Okay. Okay. That's how we got it. Okay.
Can somebody get me that information about this dinner? I'll have it over this way.
For the minutes.
I can email you the guide.
Perfect. Okay. We'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other committees have something going on?
Andy had to step out, but the local would like to put forth, and I don't even know if we still have time for this, to be honest, a resolution on rapid response at the convention. I feel like the cutoff is already done. Wasn't it 10 days before?
I believe it.
I believe so.
Today or, yeah.
Okay. If still possible, I would like the local to put forth a resolution on rapid response and the importance of the program. We've had a lot of locals in District 10 do this. I think we should obviously be the example. So if I could do that,
Motion?
I'm moving.
So moved. Is there a second?
All right.
I'm moving with you.
All right. So I will,
Who's second? There's a motion. I got a question.
I have one.
Wait a second. Do folks want us to read the motion, read the resolution? What?
What is, you don't have to read what is the intention of the resolution?
I'll read the, therefore, whereas I'm reading a lot of traffic responses doing great things. Therefore, be it resolved that we must continue to impact the legislative process and rapid response to the legislative mobilization program for legislative issues. We resolve to advance issues, to advance our issues that we're defeating against legislation or national legislation or government decisions that would do us harm, whether it's local, state, or national level. To increase the likelihood of success, most of our approach to build strong and effective rapid response networks, constantly strive for improvement in our work to include as many members as possible. We've got a motion, we've got a second, we have a question answer. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. That's the response. Old business.
All right, we have the scholarship. We should get, we don't have any technical scholarships, they're all academic. We had a total of 9 people that put in for scholarships, and so 6 of them get scholarships. And so far, it is Jonathan Hill, Jonathan Hill, Janet Hill's son, Madison Becker, Matt Becker's son, or daughter, whatever. Wayne Minnick's, Cindy Minnick's son. I'm having some issues. Liam Carlin, Shane Carlin's son, Jackson Gooch, Bob Gooch's son, and Harris Gregory, which is one that's not his son. So that's who the scholarship, and I'll get that up on the website.
All right. Any other old business? We got a picnic on Saturday. North Park. There's signs up about it. Everybody, new business.
Hi, PA, AFL-CIO working.
You want to recommend no action?
Okay, PA, AFL-CIO COVID Institute.
You recommend no action?
District 10 FMLA training.
You recommend no action?
District 10 Game Fishing Tournament.
You recommend no action?
District 10 PACR Rapid Response.
We recommend no action.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion for a fellowship out at convention with in the amount of $1,000, so we can pull our numbers together while we're all out at convention.
The motion is to allocate $1,000 to fellowship events during convention week. If you want, and we will obviously do one at convention where we like we'll rent a suite for a night, and we'll have our hospitality room for hang out and do so. Lots of folks that will be there, and we don't normally get to see. We'll have an opportunity to get together and maybe a little craziness. But realizing that we want to do a party out in Vegas for the people who are there, where the motion is to allocate up to $1,000 for fellowship events that week. And ideally, we'll get somebody from the building to organize one here in the building, and maybe some folks out in the field offices where block and lunch and stuff like that. So if you want to participate and access those funds, contact Lori by next Wednesday. Second, any discussion? Wrong. We got a different plan. We're not even see what there's block at the street for going for ADM. Yeah, we'll just do one. It's gonna be one night over. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, motion to reimburse Patrick and Chris Taylor for the faculty fines up to $18.
Amen.
Second.
Second, Jerry. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other new business? Any good welfare? Motion to pay all bills?
So moved.
Amber, RJ? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to adjourn? Denise, second by Nikki. All in favor? Motion carries.
I just want to talk about the